Sometimes I like to just get behind the camera and let the words flow. Don't necessarily come with a specific idea of what I'm going to talk about. It just kind of comes off the dome. And tonight I want to talk about two things: pain and pleasure. Now, why are these important and why do I want to talk about both of them? Well, I talk about both of these because they go hand in hand. You cannot have pain and you cannot have pleasure in your life without having both. You can't just have pleasure, 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 and never have pain. And you can't just have pain, pain, pain without ever having pleasure. It's just something you experience both in your life no matter what. Now, the important thing to note is when people get to a certain part in their life where they're upset, frustrated, or very sad, they feel something called pain, right? We all feel this at one point in our life. But you need to understand the important part about pain. When someone gets enough pain in their life, it gives them two things. It gives them one, drive, an inner fire that tells themselves, I am not going to settle for this pain anymore. And it gives them that drive and motivation to get them out of that situation where they're feeling pain. And the second thing it gives them is an opportunity to stay in it. What do I mean by that? Meaning people settle for pain. They feel it, they understand it, and they're comfortable with it. So they keep it, even though they don't like it, they keep it anyways because it's familiar to them. They can resonate with it. They know that every day, even though they go through shitty things, they know it's going to happen. So it actually brings them certainty, and they feel good about that, even though it's not good for them. So that's important to know. People settle for pain, but a lot of people, even though they settle for pain, they have that drive. And only so many people tap into it. And that drive will ultimately get you out of pain and into pleasure. And this is where it gets interesting. When people feel this pleasure, it's a whole different world. When you start realizing that there's so many great things out there, and that pain gives you that motivation to get out of it, and you finally start experiencing pleasure, pleasure lasts a lifetime. Pain is only temporary, right? I mean, you can skew that different ways from what I said, but pain, people settle for it, and they feel it, and they experience it daily, but it's not like they're in pain 24/7. But pleasure is something, well, let me revamp that for you. Pleasure is something that will keep you going no matter how tough it gets. That's what I meant to say. No matter how tough the going gets, the pleasure that they experience keeps them going. Imagine if you were trying to start a business and every single day there's pain, 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 regret, all sorts of bad things happening. How long would you last? Tough to say. But if you were going down that path and you were hitting milestones and breakthroughs and you're feeling that pleasure and excitement, you would do it every single day for the rest of your life, wouldn't you? Yeah. And so forget what I said about how pain is temporary and pleasure lasts forever. That's what I meant, but I put it in a wrong context. The context is pain only motivates you temporarily, but pleasure keeps you going forever. Now keep that in mind. So those are the two things you need to understand. Pain and pleasure. They're in your life. They're never going to go away, but you have to utilize it and become aware of how you can utilize it. So if you're feeling that pain right now, you can either answer the calling, that drive you're looking for, or you can settle for it. But if you answer the calling, you start feeling that pleasure, that's going to keep you going no matter how hard it gets. That's the video, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, then you have that pain, or you have that motivation, or you have that pleasure, and you can feel it and appreciate it, and you want to get to that next part of your life. So if that's you, thank you so much for joining me. If I made a difference in your life, I did my job. Anyways, have a great night, and as always, live with passion.